Picture this. You use your phone. The network it runs on the 5G infrastructure was likely built by Ericsson. You take a prescription medication for asthma or high blood pressure. There's a good chance it was developed by AstraZeneca. You buy a new kitchen appliance. It's probably an Electrolux. You see a construction site, a mine, a massive tunnel project. The industrial compressors and heavy equipment are from Atlas Copco and ABB. What do these 5 multi-billion-dollar globe-spanning corporations have in common? They are all controlled by one single family, a family you have never heard of. Their name is Wallenberg. Their business empire is valued at an estimated 250 billion euros. That's more than $270 billion. This one family's holdings account for 1/3 of the entire Swedish stock market's value. Their wealth puts them in the exact same league as Elon Musk, but you will never see their name on a Forbes rich list. For 6 generations, this Swedish family has turned invisibility into a superpower. To understand how they control so much without anyone noticing, we have to go back. Our story begins not in 2025, but in 1856. Sweden is not the wealthy, stable country you know today. It is one of Europe's poorest nations. It's an agricultural economy crippled by bad harvests and mass emigration. It has big ideas, but it is painfully short on money. Getting a loan for a new factory or a railroad was impossible. It meant going cap in hand to the Riksbank, the central bank. There was zero competition. A young naval officer, André Oscar Wallenberg, returns from a trip to the United States. He's read a book titled How to Start a Bank. He's also studied the Scottish banking model, which used public savings to fund new ventures. He decides to do just that. He founds the Stockholms and Skilda Bank. Today, it's known as SEB. It was Sweden's first ever private commercial bank. His idea was simple. Pool the small savings of the Swedish people and use that money to fund the industrialization of the entire country. It was a high-risk gamble. It worked. The bank funded the railroads, the ironworks, and the timber mills. But it was his son who would take this one small bank and turn it into a global empire. Knut Wallenberg took over and pushed the bank into international wars. The family's fortune exploded. Then, in 1916, the Swedish government passed a new law. Politicians were terrified of the growing power of banks. The law restricted banks from holding large, long-term share blocks in industrial companies. This should have been a crisis. This law was designed to stop families like the Wallenbergs. For Knut, it was his greatest opportunity. He didn't fight the law. He sidestepped it. He simply created a new separate company. They called it Investor AB. This one company, not the bank, would act as the holding vehicle for all their shares. It was a piece of financial genius. It is the central pillar of their power to this day. But here's where the story takes its crucial 100-year turn. Knut and his wife Alice had no children. So, in 1917, they made a decision that would secure their power forever. They didn't leave their fortune to a nephew or a cousin. They poured their entire fortune, 13 million Swedish kronor, into the Knut and Alice Wallenberg Foundation. This is the secret. This is how they perfected invisibility. The family no longer personally owns the wealth. The foundations own the wealth. The family just controls the foundations. This one move made their empire permanent. It can never be broken up by inheritance. It can never be fully taxed. It can never be sold off by a rogue heir. It is an untouchable, 107-year-old fortress of capital. The foundation's stated mission was to support Swedish research, science, technology, and medicine. Its unstated mission was to ensure Wallenberg control ... forever. With that done, Knut became Sweden's Minister for Foreign Affairs. He passed control of the business to his half-brother, Marcus Wallenberg Sr. Marcus felt betrayed. He had worked tirelessly to build the empire. only for Canute to lock it all away in a foundation. He wouldn't see the full picture for years. He didn't realize Canute had just handed him the keys to a kingdom that could never be conquered. Roughly 5 o'clock mark, Marcus was a builder. He was driven by an obsessive, almost fanatical need to create, not to spend. He didn't care for luxuries. He was famous for wearing old, pocketless jackets. When the fabric began to wear thin, he just flipped them inside out and kept working. He reinvested every single resource back into their ventures. He used the family's bank and their new holding company to build the titans of Swedish industry. SEB, the power company that is now ABB. Atlas Diesel, the machinery firm that is now Atlas Copco. Scania Vabis, the truck maker now part of Volkswagen. Stora Kopparberg, the ancient mining company he modernized. He steered these behemoths through the 1929 crash and the Great Depression. He became Europe's go-to negotiator. But his sons would face a test he could never imagine. A test of morality, survival, and profit. As the world braced for war, the legacy passed to Marcus's two sons, Jacob Wallenberg and Marcus Wallenberg Jr. Jacob was the banker, cold and pragmatic. He joined SEB in 1918, became vice CEO by 1920, and CEO by 1927. Marcus Jr. ran Investor AB, the industrial holding company. Then, in 1939, Germany invaded Poland. World War II began. Sweden declared itself neutral. The Wallenbergs did not. They played a dangerous and spectacularly profitable double game. They decided to do business with both sides. Jacob Wallenberg, the banker, became one of Sweden's main trade representatives ... to Nazi Germany. His younger brother, Marcus, was the family's key contact for the Allies in London and Washington. On paper, they were neutral. In reality, they were at the center of everything. This wasn't just trade. The Wallenberg-controlled firm, SKF, was the world's leading producer of ball bearings. Ball bearings were essential for all war machines. Tanks, planes, submarines, and U-boats could not function without them. SKF's factories in Germany supplied Hitler. SKF's factories in America supplied the Allies. The Wallenbergs won, no matter who was bombing whom. Jacob also negotiated the flow of Swedish iron ore to fuel the Nazi steel mills. He sold them timber. He sold them high-quality steel, so the Nazis could manufacture more of their own ball bearings. The family bank, SEB, was one of the key neutral institutions that cooperated with Nazi Germany. It was alleged that they helped launder looted assets from occupied territories. This included assets seized from Jewish victims. Roughly 8 o'clock mark. When the war ended, American troops uncovered documents in Stuttgart. They exposed a dummy relationship, a corporate shell game. It was between the Wallenberg Bank and the German company Bosch. The Wallenbergs were helping Bosch hide its assets from the Allies. The discovery was a bombshell. In 1945, the U.S. Treasury blacklisted the Wallenberg brothers. They were labeled special blocked nationals. Their assets in America were frozen. Their global reputation was shattered. They were, for a time, financial pariahs. But that ... is only half the story. It's the other half that makes this a legend. Because at the exact same time, the Wallenbergs were also helping to plot Hitler's overthrow. Jacob Wallenberg, the same man trading with the Nazis, was a secret channel for the German resistance. He passed messages between resistance leaders and the Allied forces. In 1943, he held a secret meeting with Karl Gordeler. Gordeler was the leader of the plot that would become the infamous 20th of July assassination attempt. Jacob's involvement was exposed, and a return to Germany would have been a death sentence. And then there was their nephew, Raoul Wallenberg, a different kind of Wallenberg. In 1944, as the Nazis began exterminating Hungary's 700,000 Jews, Raoul was recruited by the U.S. War Refugee Board. He was sent to Budapest as a Swedish diplomat. His mission was to save them. Raoul unleashed every trick in the book. He had no experience in diplomacy or clandestine operations. He just acted. He invented a document called the Schutzpass, a protective passport. It was a colorful, official-looking piece of paper stamped by the Swedish legation. It had zero legal validity, but it looked real. And in the chaos of war, that was enough. He forged thousands of them, declaring Jews to be under Swedish protection. He didn't stop there. He used American and Swedish funds to rent 32 buildings around Budapest. He declared them extraterritorial Swedish territory. Libraries, hospitals, safe houses. He pulled people from Nazi death trains, waving his passes. He intercepted death marches, bribing or threatening the guards. In the final days of the war, the Nazis prepared to annihilate the 70,000 Jews remaining in the Budapest central ghetto. Raoul learned of the plan. He confronted the Nazi commander, SS General August Schmid-Thuber. He told him, to his face, that if the slaughter went ahead, Raoul would personally see to it that Schmid-Thuber was hunted down and hanged for crimes against humanity. The terrified general, with the Red Army at the gates, called off the attack. Raoul Wallenberg is credited with saving tens of thousands of lives. He was a global hero, and he would pay for it. When the Soviets entered Budapest in January 1945, they arrested Raoul. They accused him of being an American spy. He was taken to the Lubyanka prison in Moscow and vanished. The Soviets later claimed he died of a heart attack in 1947 at age 35. His true fate is unknown to this day. And the family's response? While their hero nephew was rotting in a Soviet prison, the Wallenberg brothers were busy negotiating a $250 million loan to Stalin's regime. Business, as always, came first. The family's dark reputation from the war and the tragedy of Raoul left a void. The empire's leadership was set to pass to Marcus Jr.'s son, Mark, was the chosen one, prepared from birth to lead. He worked to merge two major banks to create the modern SEB. The pressure of the name, the legacy, and the future was relentless. In 1971, at just 47 years old, Mark Wallenberg took his own life. Roughly 13 o'clock minute mark. The empire was leaderless. The family was in crisis, so they turned to the other son, Peter Wallenberg. Peter was the family underdog. He was not the chosen one. He had taken a different path, far from the traditional footsteps. His father had strained their relationship, sending him to the ground floor of Atlas Copco in Africa. He was expected to stay out of the way. But with Mark's sudden passing, Peter's path took an unexpected turn. When his father passed in 1982, Peter took control of the empire. He was 56 years old. Nobody thought he was the right fit. Many in the Swedish business world openly doubted he could lead. Peter was determined to prove every single one of them wrong. He did. He didn't just manage the business. He globalized it. He pushed through brutal, necessary restructurings of their major companies. He bought back controlling shares in Atlas Copco from Volvo. He launched Patricia Industries, their powerful private equity arm. He secured the family's power for another 2 generations, which brings us to today. The empire is now in the hands of the 5th generation, Jacob Wallenberg, Peter Wallenberg Jr., and their cousin, Marcus Wallenberg. Their power is almost total. That 250 billion euro empire, 1/3 of the Swedish stock market, touches every aspect of your life. They've beaten the curse of the 3rd generation, where 70% of family wealth is lost. They are on their 6th generation. And it's all because of that 1917 decision. The foundations. The family's personal wealth is modest by billionaire standards. Their control is absolute. You will not see them on magazine covers. You will not see them flaunting luxury yachts. They follow a simple family motto in Latin: esse non videre. To be, not to seem. Don't seem powerful. Just be powerful. A Swedish historian, Gunnar Wetterberg, said it best. Every government knows that they must work with the Wallenbergs. It's what's best for Sweden. If you go after the Wallenbergs, you're not just going after a family. You're going after Sweden itself. CTA. So what is the true legacy of this sixth-generation empire? Is it the heroism of Raoul, who saved tens of thousands of lives by defying an army? Or is it the pragmatism of Jacob, who armed the Nazis, laundered their assets, and planned loans for Stalin? Drop your answer in the comments. Hero or pragmatist? And subscribe, because the sixth generation is just taking control. And their secret moves in defense, pharmaceuticals, and telecommunications will shape your world for the next 50 years.